Hi there, I'm Mike, and what I have for you is your annual reminder that you can like a toy without knowing anything about it. I'm here to talk about my favorite figure of the newest releasing wave of the Black Series, and that is Darth Malak here. And I would wager a good portion of the people that collect Black Series don't know Darth Malak, is what I almost said, Darth Malak, because they didn't play Knights of the Old Republic, which was a game that, I mean, it's still available. You could buy it. You could buy it on like your phone, probably. You could buy it on your Nintendo and like PlayStation currently. Darth Malak is kind of the main bad guy of the game here. His real name is Alec, in case you're curious, and he just added an M to it when he was a Jedi, and he's like, oh, I'm Jedi Alec, and then he's like, no, I'm a Sith now, I'm Darth Malak. Then it's for malice, malicious Alec. Let's talk about the figure. That's enough here. You know what? The box real quick. This is the new box. I'm gonna admit, I'm gonna miss this box. Number one, everything was well preserved in here. I didn't have to worry about the plastic kind of ruining everything. And he's not even in here, and you don't know that. For me, I know that. I don't have to like put him back in here for the review, which is something I used to have to do. There's the back. Here's a picture of Darth Malak here, and I'm going to read you the bio because I used to do that, and I still do, but I also used to. Darth Malak was once the apprentice of Darth Revan, a fallen Jedi turned Sith Lord who inspires terror at just the mention of the name. With Revan presumed dead, Malak embarks on his mission to conquer the galaxy on his own. Now, at the beginning, I talked about how you can like a figure without knowing anything about the character, and I stand by that. What I've given you there and here is as deep as I'm gonna go. My point with this review is he's cool on his own. You only need to know two facts about him. He's a Sith, and he looks like this. That's it. Getting into the looks here, he's not perfect. He doesn't look like he looked in the game, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. He could look more like the original game. However, I'm giving Hasbro a pass because they mention that the look here is based off the redo of the game that I guess has been canceled or severely indefinitely delayed. It was supposed to be out by now, but we got these figures, and if that's all the game gave us, thank you, game, for not existing or trying to exist, because I love this. This right now is top 10 Black Series / toy material of 2023. Let's start from the head. This head looks good. This is one of the best head sculpts. We have the lower jaw he's missing it. That was a thing. That's part of his character. So he's wearing this nice prosthetic, which is really, it's like the lower half of Darth Vader's helmet, which obviously they're going for. They're like, we're not gonna just redo Darth Vader, but what if we just did like half of Vader? But also you can see the scarring around the lower part of his like cheeks and stuff. So again, very Vader-ish. He's got a nice tattoo up and down his forehead there. But the eyes, the nose, the sculpting on this is fantastic. And then the actual mandibles, I guess, the lower mouth plate breather, he's not a breather because he can breathe. He's got a nose. He doesn't have a mouth, and we'll get into that. But there's a lot of great sculpting there and some painting on the back where there's like these little vent things. It's great. You can take it one better, and you can actually remove it. It comes off in two pieces. I was a little worried about this at first because it didn't pop off as gingerly as I wanted it to be. But you know what? That's good because you don't want it falling off either. You want that nice balance of being able to take it off, but not worrying about it just falling off on its own. You want it coming off to be your decision, not its decision. It's not the ring, the one ring here where it can just slip off your finger. Underneath the faceplate, you have this grotesque, absolutely disgusting mouth, and I love it. It's perfect. Hasbro has absolutely knocked the head out of the park here. I mean, no notes whatsoever. perfect as far as sculpting and painting goes. We'll get into more later. Moving down, he's got this collar. The collar's sculpted. It is a separate piece that's kind of glued onto the chest. It gets in the way, and we'll talk about that later, but just sticking with the sculpting, there is some nice detailed molded into it, and then some paint apps. There's a little bit of kind of, I guess, dry brushing in there somewhere to bring out some of the details, but also just the insides of the little front panel are painted to give it detail, and that looks great. I love it. Underneath there, there's almost no paint on the actual chest piece. It is just molded. Now it's a couple of different materials glued onto each other, so you have a nice soft molded rubber, and then like a harder plastic, but just a lot of molded detailing, a lot of molded plasticking. And then he does have this sort of shoulder cape that is cloth. I like it. I wish it hung a little better. I wish it was wired to be able to pose it, but it doesn't look bad. Going down the chest, we have just some more, again, no paint, but some more molding in the detail. It just kind of look like the shirt underneath his chest armor. On the arms, same kind of thing. Just molding, a lot of molded ridges, a little bit like the Solo Cup Troopers for the Praetorian Guard. This is sort of a proto-Praetorian Guard. There's, again, no paint going down the sleeves. It's just molded plastic. We got his waist. It's got a nice painted silver, and the belt over like the little skirt piece. Under that we have pants, and all of these parts are new, by the way. None of this is reuse. There's no reuse for Darth Malak here, which is nice. And that's true for a majority, I would say, of the newer figures that they've done in this wave. It's all brand new, and that's nice. It's something to keep in mind when you want to complain about Hasbro doing a lot of repaints and reuse. But there's really very little paint outside the head and his little neck brace thing, and then his belt. There's absolutely no paint on this guy whatsoever. But there is one thing that I didn't talk about, and that is he does have a holster on the back of his belt, and this is one of my favorite things about him. The lightsaber he comes with, which is, I don't want to say it's his only accessory, because I guess you could technically count his mask as an accessory, because it can be removed and it can be lost. So to me, that counts as an accessory. But the lightsaber itself just slides right into the back of his belt. And this is probably my favorite lightsaber storage of any Black Series figure that we've ever gotten. I love this. It's so cool. It's badass to have your lightsaber just hanging out behind you, and you just kind of pull it from behind your back when you're about ready to throw down. Like, that's neat. Why not? But that gives us an opportunity to talk about the lightsaber itself. This is a pretty typical style for the Old Republic. If you are not really well versed on the Old Republic, you can just Google like Old Republic lightsabers, and it's molded well. It's a unique lightsaber to him, so it's not anyone else's lightsaber that he's just holding. It's his lightsaber, and he does have a red blade that is removable. Now, that's nice for when you want to put the lightsaber into his belt. I will say, and I haven't talked about this much, if I could have my one change to the Black Series line, I would want them to give us a fully constructed one-piece lightsaber, maybe sculpted in clear plastic and the handles painted, kind of like the older Power of the Force figures used to be like that, where it was just colored plastic that they painted the hilt on. But you don't have to worry about breaking as much. I mean, there's not that little piece at the handle where, if he lands on the blade, that blade's not, that's the point where it's going to break, right? Where it connects to the lightsaber. Whereas if it's all one piece, that point doesn't exist. And then they could give us a separate handle, a separate hilt, I should say, and then a lightsaber that's all one piece with the blade ignited. I would prefer that. So that's it for his accessories. But let's talk about his articulation, because that's the next thing we talk about. First, we're going to talk about his head. It moves okay, but the neck piece does get in the way if you want to put him in any kind of specific pieces. It only goes so far up and down. That kind of sucks. The arms have butterfly joints. They move freely at the shoulders. It has the typical, hinge and swivel at the elbows, and it's a nice deep cut at the elbow, so you can get a nice deep bend that looks natural. And then both of his wrists are hinged vertically instead of horizontally, so that you can get some good lightsaber poses. Now, the real star on this guy is an extra piece of articulation that you don't see that often. And he actually has two different waist joints. He has one at the mid torso where the chest armor is overlaid on his like tummy. So there's a point there, and then there's also a waist point. So you can get some pretty decent poses out of this guy. A lot more range of movement that you could get here than almost any other Black Series figure, because most of them just have the one joint, if any joint at all. So that's nice. And moving down to his legs, he's got standard leg thigh articulation, upper thigh swivel. He's got the newer knees with the elbows that are the hinge and swivel at the knee. And then he does have the ankle rocker and hinge. So you can get a pretty wide stance, with this being his widest stance. If you want to do this, you can do it. The only thing that would make it perfect here is if he had a better range of motion on the neck. That is the one thing that's kind of dragging the articulation down, but it's something that is fine. I get it. There's a lot going on there, and it would get in the way in real life as well. So let's talk about the elephant in the room here. The next thing I always talk about is like that, did I want it? And the answer is yeah. Like, it's one of those things that I don't think he would ever be on any of my top figure lists. But that doesn't mean that when Hasbro is like, hey, we're going to do this, I'm going to be like, no, I don't want that. And actually, I do want that. Thank you for doing this. So they really turned me around on wanting it. It's cool to have more Sith on your shelf, especially cool Sith that don't have that typical emo, it's not a phase mom, goth look, whatever. He's a little bit different. He's wearing red, he's standing out. He's the Sith apprentice turned master, because this is the whole Revan thing. They made a game about it. You can go play it. You just go play it. I did want this guy once they announced him. I'm glad that game was announced, so we got this, because the alternative was probably not getting it, and I'm very thankful for that. Even if we never get that game, this exists, and this will be on my shelf, and I'm very excited for it. So I'm very happy for it. And even, like I said, if you have no attachment to this whatsoever, this is a cool looking Sith to have on your shelf. He's just cool looking. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's my whole argument. Look at him. He's cool. He's super tall. He's super tall. Look at him compared to some of the other figures. I mean, you can put him next to the new Bastilla Shan, and they have a thing together. They're part of the game. He looks cool next to Revan. He just looks cool. He's gonna look cool next to Darth Malak when we get him as well. So they weren't in the game together, because Darth Malak is from the Old Republic, and Darth Nihilus, who came out, who's from the second Knights of the Old Republic game. So I love this. I want Hasbro to give us more stuff like this. So let me know down in the downstairs area, what other Knights of the Old Republic characters have we not gotten that you want, or just video game characters? I know the answer you're probably going to say now that I've said that is Starkiller, because he's the popular one, and I guess that makes sense. I'm not going to say no to that. I wouldn't. He's a rumor. So we'll see, but I'm glad that we got him, and I'm glad that we got Bastilla Shan to go with him. If you want me to give you a score on this, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. Like, he's really, 4.75 out of 5. The only real knock on him is that articulation bit, but I'm gonna overlook it for the most part. I'm gonna dock it a little bit, like a little bit. But I like it. That's it for my video. Let me know down in the downstairs area, what did you like about this figure? What did you like about this video? I love to read and respond to comments when I can. And I also love to take a moment and thank these people here for supporting me on Patreon. It's very nice that you still do that. I don't make video content as much as I used to, and I'm trying to get better at it. But, life happens. Thanks for watching, and thanks for getting this far. And I'll see you later. Oh, yeah, like, share, and subscribe, because, that's something you say. Bye.